So a claim put forward by Christians, and sometimes by atheists as well, is that chapter 5 verse 32 is not for the Muslims, because it says at the beginning, and so we decreed to the children of Israel. They try and say that chapter 5 verse 33, the verse after, is for Muslims, and I'll be making a separate video on that, inshallah. In this video you're going to see Nabil Qureshi lie yet again to deliberately deceive his audience, and Adnan Rashid responds, and as you saw in the 929 video, throughout I'll paste evidences as well and commentate, inshallah. So without further ado, let's begin.
I can't say this without laughing a bit, but so abused is chapter 5 verse 32 of the Quran, which says if you kill one person, it says if you kill all of mankind, and if you save a life, it says if you save all of mankind. When you start understanding the context, though, you realize that this is not the ultimate message of Islam. For example, that one verse, chapter 5 verse 32 of the Quran, says the first part of that verse is, it was told to the Jews. If you kill one person, it's as if you kill all mankind. If you save a life, as if you save all mankind. And we do. We find that in Tractate Sanhedrin of the Babylonian Talmud.
I see.
It's not in the Quran. It's not a teaching for Muslims. The next verse is the teaching for Muslims, which says, if anyone creates mischief in the land or strives against Allah or His Messenger, crucify him or kill him.
Right, a very
cut off
different
his hands.
message.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you start getting the context. And what you find is, in the first 13 years of Muhammad's prophetic career, he lives a peaceful life. He has about 100 followers by the end of that time, not that many.
So before we get to the first 13 years of the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, let's quickly address some of the verses Nabil has mentioned. He clearly acknowledges that there are peaceful verses in the Quran, and he seems to find a contradiction in them and other violent verses of the Quran. For example, one of the verses he mentions is Surah 2, 256. La ikraha fid din. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. La ikraha fid din qad tabayyana ar-rushdu min al-ghayy. Okay, that verse clearly states that there is no compulsion in religion and truth stands clear from falsehood. So in other words, do not force people to accept your religion, right? And that particular verse was definitely revealed about the Jews and the Christians, because the context, when we read it, that verse was revealed about the Prophet and the Quran, or Allah preventing Muslims from forcing anyone to accept Islam. It's clear. Then he mentions another verse which is talking about the Jewish people, that they were told that if you kill one innocent person, it is like killing the whole of humanity. So why is God giving that example to Muslims is the question. How do the Muslims understand that verse? How do we apply it in our lives? What do the Muslim commentators have to say? What do the commentaries say about this verse? The application is for the Muslims. The reason why God is telling the believers why the Jews were told X, Y, and Z is to give them a lesson that they were told this also applies on you. So they were given a standard, which was a moral standard. We are telling you this standard again so that you can also apply this in your lives. So do not kill innocent people, because killing an innocent person is like killing the all of humanity.
On screen there is an excerpt from Tafsir Ibn Kathir on chapter 5 verse 32. I've left a link in the description where you can read more. Ibn Kathir points out how the son of Adam killed his brother, okay, and how obviously that was wrong, and thus we declared upon the children of Israel. This verse also applies to Muslims as well. How do we know this? Well, because we Muslims believe we come from Adam, peace be upon him. Let me point out some flaws with those people who make this argument that 532 doesn't apply to Muslims. Why is it under Islamic law, under the Sharia, that the capital punishment for murder exists? If this doesn't apply to Muslims and this isn't Islamic at all, then there will be no such law in the Sharia. Also as well, there's a hadith on screen now. This hadith says, the Prophet peace be upon him said, whoever kills a muwahid, which is a person who is granted the pledge of protection by the Muslims, shall not smell the fragrance of paradise, though its fragrance can be smelt at a distance of 40 years of travelling. Look at that. If you actually study properly, you'll realise something, that Islam prohibits the murder of innocent people. Anyway, back to Adnan Rashid now. And then we'll add more evidences later, inshallah.
You cannot kill innocent people under any circumstances. The prophetic tradition clarifies that amply. The prophetic tradition clarifies that very much. How? Because we have reports in Bukhari, for example, the Prophet specifically told his companions that when in conflict, do not kill women and children. Specifically, in the book of Jihad in Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet specifically told his companions, even in conflict, do not kill women and children, because the Prophet had come across a dead body of a woman on the battlefield, on one of the battlefields. So these pieces of information are deliberately hidden by our Christian missionary opponents and interlocutors. In this case, Nabil Qureshi clearly does not understand the context of these texts in Islam, or doesn't want to understand them, or if he understands them, didn't want to tell people the bigger picture.
And here's the hadith that Adnan Rashid was alluding to. Do not kill any children or women or any farm labourer. And here are more hadith as well. Look at this one, Sahih Bukhari 68-67. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, no human being is killed unjustly, but a part of the responsibility for the crime is laid on the first son of Adam, who invented the tradition of killing on earth. Okay, that goes back to, we can relate that to the Ibn Kathir tafsir on the Quran. Okay, Qabil killed his brother Habil unjustly, and killing people unjustly is wrong. Here is another hadith which you can read. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, do not become disbelievers by striking the necks of one another. And look at the chapter title, and if anyone saved a life, which is what it says in what? Chapter 5, verse 32. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was asked in this hadith you see on screen, what are the biggest sins? And look what he said, to murder someone unlawfully. So 532 of the Quran does apply to Muslims. Okay, and like I said, inshallah, I will be producing a video on chapter 5, verse 33 as well. Be sure to check the links in the description. Sub to Adnan Rashid. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.